My fiancé said, "I can't marry you." "I'm in love with my ex," I replied. Message received. I cancelled everything, sold the house, and moved to another state a month later. Her passionate ex dumped her, and I just smiled. Hey, Reddit. 2 weeks before my wedding, my fiancée dropped a bomb that nuked our entire life together. She said she couldn't marry me because she was in love with her ex. I didn't beg or cry. I just said, "Message received," and walked away. Then I methodically dismantled everything we'd built, sold our house, and moved states. A month later, her ex dumped her hard, and she spiraled into complete chaos. A year after that, she tried to crawl back. Here's how it all went down. Context matters. I'm 31, an architect at a mid-sized firm specializing in sustainable commercial buildings. Decent salary, good benefits, the stable career my parents hoped for. Not rich, but comfortable. I own my car outright, have a solid 401k, and saved enough for a house down payment without crippling debt. I met Vanessa 3 years ago at a friend's housewarming. She worked in event planning, which explained her obsessive attention to detail about everything. Our first date was at an Italian place downtown, where she spent 20 minutes explaining pasta shapes and which sauces paired best with each. Most guys would have found it annoying. I thought it was charming. The first year was really good. Exclusive after 2 months, first vacation at 6 months, moved in together after a year. Her lease was ending. My place had an extra bedroom I was using for storage, so it made financial sense. That should have been my first red flag. Making a relationship choice based on finances, not emotion. But I was 28, trying to be practical. We split everything 50-50ths. Rent, utilities, groceries, streaming services. Vanessa appreciated that I wasn't one of those guys who expected her to cook and clean just because she was a woman. I appreciated she didn't expect me to pay for everything because I was a man. It felt equal, or so I thought. Year 2, I proposed, traditional route, asked her father's permission, planned a botanical garden proposal with a photographer, got down on one knee in front of the koi pond. She cried, said yes, posted 17 photos within an hour. Her mother called that night, relieved Vanessa was finally settling down. That word should have bothered me more than it did. The engagement period showed cracks I ignored. Busy with work and wedding planning, maybe blinded by sunk costs. The ring, the announcements, the plans. Vanessa started spending more time with college friends, mostly women who were divorced or perpetually single. Wine nights turned into philosophical questioning. Do you think people can be truly happy in marriage? Or what if we're making a mistake? I reassured her, thinking it was pre-wedding anxiety, and we moved on. 6 months ago, we bought a house together. A 3-bedroom craftsman in a decent neighborhood, 15 minutes from my office. It needed work. Kitchen from 1987, bathrooms outdated, rotting back deck, but good bones and in our budget. We put down 20%, split evenly, both names on deed and mortgage, legally and financially entangled. Commitment, building a life together. That was supposed to matter. Weekends were spent at Home Depot picking paint colors, cabinet hardware, light fixtures, and Vanessa had opinions about everything. Strong opinions, the kind where if I suggested something she didn't like, she'd get this tight look on her face and say, "Well, if that's what you want," in a tone that made it crystal clear it was not what she wanted. And I was an idiot for even suggesting it. But there were good moments too. Painting the bedroom together on a Saturday, getting more paint on each other than the walls, grilling in the backyard even though the deck wobbled, lying on the living room floor after moving in all our furniture. Exhausted but satisfied, half convinced we'd fall through. It all felt real, like we were building something solid. The place cards arrived on a Tuesday afternoon in late September. I remember because the sunlight streamed through the bay window of the house we'd bought together 6 months earlier, hitting the honeygold hardwood floors at just the right angle. Those floors, original oak from 1924, had been one of the selling points. I'd just finished assembling the final ridiculously complex bookshelf for our shared library, a project I'd been putting off for weeks because the instructions were in 3 languages, none helpful. The scent of fresh pine and coffee hung in the air, mixed with the faint smell of paint from the guest bedroom I'd touched up that morning. It was one of those perfect, peaceful moments you mentally bookmark, thinking you'll look back on it when you're old. Vanessa sat at the dining table surrounded by wedding planning materials. 3 massive binders, color-coded by category, venue, catering, decorations, fabric swatches pinned to a board, a rainbow of place cards scattered across every surface, organized in a system only she understood. She meticulously wrote names in her elegant looping cursive, the only beautiful thing her mother had ever taught her. Each card probably took 5 minutes, but she insisted on doing them by hand because printed labels were tacky. "Look at this, Blake," she said, holding up a card. "Mr. and Mrs. Henderson. It looks so official." I walked over, wiping sawdust from my hands onto my jeans and kissed the top of her head. Her hair smelled like coconut and vanilla. "It is official," I said. 2 weeks. We're almost there." She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Lately, I'd noticed that distant, preoccupied look. I'm an architect. I understand stress. I figured it was just the pressure of finalizing 100 details before the wedding. Maybe we should have a separate kids' table after all. "My cousin's twins are pretty energetic," she said, her voice a little too light. "Whatever you think is best, honey. You're the CEO of Operation I Do." I went to make us more coffee. This was our life. The comfortable silences, the shared projects, the gentle teasing. We'd built this, the house, the future, us. For 3 years, it felt like the most solid construction of my life, more permanent than any building I'd ever designed. That night, the solidity turned to sand. I was in bed reading a novel on my tablet when she came in. Quiet all evening, claiming a headache, she didn't get ready for bed. She sat on the edge of the mattress, her back to me, the springs creaking under her weight. "Blake," she said, her voice small and tight. "We need to talk." I put the tablet down. My heart skipped a beat, the kind it does on a sudden roller coaster drop you didn't see coming. "Okay, what's up? Is it the venue coordinator again? Do I need to go down there?" "It's not the venue." She took a sharp, ragged breath. "It's everything." I sat up against the headboard. "What do you mean, everything? Talk to me." She turned, and in the dim light from my tablet, her face was streaked with tears. My first instinct was to reach for her, to comfort her. I stopped myself. There was a wall there, invisible but palpable. "I can't do this," she whispered. The words hit me like a physical blow. "I'm so sorry, Blake. I can't marry you." The world didn't shatter. It just stopped. The hum of the refrigerator faded. The clock went silent. Only the sound of my own blood pounding filled my ears. "What are you talking about?" My voice was eerily calm. "Is this cold feet?" "That's normal, Vanessa. Everyone says it's normal." She shook her head, tears falling faster. "It's not cold feet. It's my heart. It's not in it." "It's not in it," I repeated, the phrase feeling alien and stupid on my tongue. "Because we bought a house together. We have joint insurance. We're getting married in 14 days. And your heart has seemed pretty in it for the last 3 years." "I know," she cried, her voice pitching higher, saying she thought it was, that she truly believed she was over him. But every time she looked at the place cards, tasted the cake samples, picked a song for the first dance, she didn't think of me and her, she thought of him, and the air left my lungs at that word, him, because there was only one him who carried that kind of weight. "Tyler," I said, the name a curse in the quiet room, the ex from before me, the motorcycle, the reckless smile, the one who broke her heart and whose ghost I'd spent years patiently exorcising, and she nodded, sobs tearing through her as she admitted he'd reached out a few months ago just to talk. That they started talking and everything flooded back, the passion, the intensity, and then she said the words that cut the deepest. That what we had was comfortable and safe, but with him she felt alive, each sentence a precise surgical strike. So I asked, my voice flat and empty of the rage it should have held, if I had this right, that for 4 months while we planned a wedding, booked a venue, sent invitations, bought a house, she'd been emotionally involved with her ex, and she insisted it wasn't like that it just happened, that she never meant to hurt me, that she was confused, and that she couldn't marry me while she loved someone else because it wouldn't be fair to me. A statement so hypocritical I almost laughed. I looked around our bedroom, at the Costa Rica photo, her clothes beside mine, the wedding binders in the hallway, and it all felt like a flimsy stage set. And I knew the man I was 2 minutes earlier, the one who would have begged, listed memories, promised passion, fought for her, was gone, dismantled by 6 sentences. I saw the story she'd cast herself in, the tragic heroine torn between safe Blake and exciting Tyler, and I was done being a character. So I stood, calm in the way you are after the worst diagnosis is confirmed, said okay, watched her stare and ask what that meant, and told her I understood, that she loved Tyler, couldn't marry me, message received. She begged me to wait, asked why I wasn't angry, why I wouldn't yell, and at the doorway I told her I wouldn't beg her to value a life she'd already decided to throw away. Then I walked to the spare room without looking back as she cried, knowing the demolition had begun. I didn't sleep, my mind switching to pure analytical mode, the same one I use when a building has to be torn down to the studs, and I sat with my laptop making lists, because if you remove the wrong support first everything collapses on you. But if you do it right you walk away clean, starting with wedding vendors to cancel, opening the meticulously organized shared folder she'd built over 8 months, color-coded spreadsheets and all, the irony not lost on me as I began dismantling our wedding line by line, the historic Gardens venue with its $8,000 deposit and $12,000 balance, money I'd lose gladly to keep my sanity, then the caterer, gourmet affairs, a $3,200 deposit for a menu she'd perfected over 3 tastings. She'd insisted on having both past appetizers during cocktail hour and a 3-course plated dinner. Our wedding guests deserve a real meal, not some cash bar with chicken fingers, she'd said. I remembered her voice sharp and incredulous. Then she added, well, our wedding guests were about to deserve nothing because there wasn't going to be a wedding. Photographer, some guy named Jonathan who charged $2,800 for 8 hours and 2 photographers. Vanessa had pinned all his work on a Pinterest board, candid shots, artistic angles, black and white portraits. All of it about to be worthless. Florist, $1,400 for centerpieces, bouquets, and ceremony arrangements. She'd drawn diagrams for each table. Peonies and garden roses in blush and cream. Sweet planning moments that now felt like a colossal waste of money. DJ, $800 for someone to play music and make announcements. We'd given him a do not play list longer than our must play list. No Cupid shuffle. No CHA slide. Definitely no Macarena. Vanessa's dignity at weddings was non-negotiable. Baker, $650 for a 3-tier vanilla cake with raspberry filling and buttercream frosting. We'd tasted it on a random Tuesday, feeding each other samples while the baker watched. A moment that had felt romantic then, now stupid. Total vendor deposits at risk, $16,850. The cost of trusting the wrong person. Second list, financial entanglements. Tricky, because money complicates everything. Joint checking account opened after moving in together, equal monthly contributions, balance $4,200. Half mine, half hers. I'd transfer my half first thing in the morning. Shared credit card, used for house and groceries, balance $3,100. Plan to pay off after the wedding with gift money, not happening now. Pulled the statement, roughly 50-50. Fine. I'd pay my half and remove myself as authorized user. Utilities, electric, gas, water, internet, both our names. I'd need to transfer or cancel depending on the house. Streaming services, Netflix under my email, Hulu under hers, HBO sharing my brother's password. Small stupid things couples share that become annoyingly complicated when splitting up. Third list, the house. The mountain I had to move before leaving this city with a clean conscience. Bought 6 months ago for $425,000. Put down $85,000 combined, $42,500 each. Mortgage $340,000 split equally. 6 months in, maybe $8,000 paid toward principal. Equity roughly down payment plus principal minus selling costs, divided by 2. Selling quickly meant losing money, realtor fees 5 to 6%, closing costs, title insurance, inspections, garbage eating profit. If lucky, break even. If not, take a loss. But I couldn't stay. Every room held memories now poisoned by tonight's conversation. The bedroom of her confession, the kitchen where we'd planned our future, the living room of paint arguments, the backyard where I'd imagined teaching our kids to grill. Contaminated. Could buy her out, keep the house. But did I want to wake every morning in a bed we'd shared? Sit on a couch where she'd spent hours texting Tyler? See constant reminders of the life I thought I was building? No. I wanted a clean break. Sell the house, split the equity, walk away. Let someone else make new memories here. Fourth list, the logistics of leaving. Not just the house, not just the relationship, the entire city. The Denver position I'd turned down 8 months ago because Vanessa's career and family anchored us. The firm had said to keep in touch. Maybe something would open down the road. Down the road was now. Email them first thing in the morning. Worst case, no. Fine. I'd find something else. Best case, a month from now, I'd be 2,000 meters above sea level in Colorado, away from all of this. By dawn, I had a plan. 3 pages of notes, 7 spreadsheets, a timeline stretching from now to moved and settled in a new city. 6 weeks if everything went perfectly, 8 if complications arose. Vanessa found me at 6 a.m., still at the desk, eyes burning from staring at screens all night but clearer than I'd been in months. Did you sleep at all? Her voice was small. No, but I've been productive, I said, turning the laptop toward her. Here's what's going to happen. I'm canceling the wedding. All of it. Today. Her face went pale. Blake, don't you think we should talk about this more? Maybe take some time? You took 4 months lying to me. I'm good, I said flatly. Deposits are non-refundable. I'll eat those costs. Consider it my wedding gift to you and Tyler. She flinched at his name. The house is more complicated, I continued. We're both on the deed, both on the mortgage, but I'm buying you out today. Today? She looked stunned. That's not possible. We'd need an appraisal, lawyers. I told her I'd called a real estate attorney at midnight. He'd meet us at 9. I'm prepared to offer you $10,000 over half the equity. Generous, considering the circumstances. Where am I supposed to go? She asked, and I didn't answer. Maybe Tyler's place, maybe her mother's. Not my problem. You made your choice. Now live with the consequences, I said, closing the laptop. The attorney meeting was efficient. Vanessa, still in shock, signed everything I put in front of her. By noon, I'd written her a check for $62,000. By 1 p.m., her name was off the deed. She moved out that weekend to her mother Patricia's. Surely thrilling news for someone who never liked me, who'd thought I wasn't good enough because I was an architect instead of a doctor or lawyer. Now Vanessa could chase passion with Tyler, the motorcycle enthusiast, and I didn't care. Wedding cancellations took 2 days, each call a small knife wound. Hi, this is Blake Morrison. I need to cancel my wedding for October 14th. Pause. Sympathy. Oh no, I'm so sorry. Is everything okay? No, but it will be. What's the cancellation policy? Venue, $5,000 deposit gone. Caterer, $3,200 gone. Photographer, $1,800 gone. Florist, $900 gone. DJ, $600 gone. Cake, $400 gone. $11,900 lost. The most expensive education I'd ever received. The biggest move was still coming. 6 months earlier, I'd been offered a position at a Denver firm, leading their sustainable design division. I turned it down for Vanessa. I called them back. Is the position still available? Yes. We haven't found the right candidate yet. Interested? Very. How soon can I start? 2 weeks. I listed the house the same day, priced it to sell fast. 3 offers in 4 days, accepted 1 in a week, closed in 2. The universe was cooperating. Friends thought I was losing it. Dude, moving to Colorado just like that. Kevin asked over coffee. Seems extreme. Staying here seems more extreme, I said. Everywhere I went, I'd see her. Coffee shop, grocery store, park, friends, family, the ghost of our relationship haunting me. He had no reply. I donated or sold most of our shared furniture, packed my essentials, books, drafting equipment, loaded a truck, left the keys with the agent. 3 weeks after Vanessa's confession, I was gone. Colorado was exactly what I needed. The firm was incredible, cutting-edge projects, focus on LED certification and net zero buildings, brilliant colleagues who cared about sustainable design. The city felt alive in ways my hometown never had. People were outdoorsy, active, optimistic rather than stuck in the past. I bought a small Capitol Hill condo, 900 square feet, 1 bedroom, with floor-to-ceiling windows and mountain views that made me catch my breath every morning. Mine. No shared memories, no ghosts. Every piece of furniture was new, chosen by me, arranged without compromise. The first weeks were intensely lonely. I'd wake, reach for someone not there, start to tell Vanessa about my day before remembering she wasn't part of my life. Slowly, those instincts faded. The muscle memory of being in a relationship weakened and eventually stopped. I started hiking every weekend. Colorado has 58 peaks over 14,000 feet, 14 ers, and I made it my mission to summit as many as possible. Hiking at altitude clarifies everything. The thin air forces focus on each breath, each step. You can't think about relationship drama at 13,000 feet. You survive, you move forward. Good metaphor for life. I made new friends through a hiking group, people who knew me as Blake the architect, not Blake the abandoned fiancé, who didn't know Vanessa, Tyler, or the drama. They knew the guy with good trail snacks who could identify rock formations. Clean slate, fresh start. The work was challenging in the best possible way. I was leading the design on a massive mixed-use development that combined residential, commercial, and green space in a way that minimized environmental impact, the kind of project I'd dreamed about since architecture school. My old firm had been competent but conventional. This new place was pushing boundaries, actually innovating instead of copying what had worked before. I didn't check Vanessa's social media. I blocked her number and email. Clean break, complete severance. I told Kevin he could give me updates if something truly important happened, but otherwise I didn't want to know. Didn't want to hear about her life, her struggles, her choices. She'd made her decision. I'd made mine. Both of us had to live with the consequences. The first update came a month after I moved. Kevin's text was brief. Tyler dumped her. Thought you should know. I stared at it, searching for satisfaction, some vindication. All I felt was mild curiosity, like hearing about a stranger's bad day. I texted back, thanks for letting me know. No questions, no request for details. Kevin called 5 minutes later. Dude, that's all you're going to say? He dumped her after a month. 1 month. She blew up your entire life for a guy who dumped her in 30 days. Don't you feel vindicated, justified, something? I told him I'd moved on. What she does now, who hurts her, it's not my story anymore. It's hers. There was a long pause. That's cold, man. No, I said. It's healthy. Cold would be enjoying her suffering. I just don't care enough to feel anything about it. Kevin kept updating me anyway. Tyler had never intended anything serious. He'd reached out for fun, enjoyed the ego boost of stealing her from her fiancé. Once the novelty wore off and he realized Vanessa wanted something permanent, he bailed with some cliché excuse. Vanessa spiraled, lost her job, couldn't focus, called in sick, got fired for poor performance, moved back in with her mother, sent me texts from new numbers when I blocked the old ones. They followed a predictable pattern. Denial, this is a huge mistake. We need to talk. Please respond. Anger, you're a coward for running away. A real man would have fought for us. Bargaining, if you just give me another chance, I can prove we belong together. I was confused. I made a mistake. Depression. My life is falling apart. I've lost everything. Please just talk to me. I didn't respond. She'd made her choice based on passion and intensity, and now she was living with the consequences. Not my responsibility. The texts kept coming, daily or multiple times a day. I blocked each new number, But she found another way: borrowed phones, work calls, online texting services. 2 months after I moved, Patricia called my cell. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the better of me. "Blake, it's Patricia." Her tone was the same, sharp and imperious, assuming compliance. "Hello, Patricia. What can I do for you?" I asked formally. She ignored it. "We need to talk about Vanessa. She's in a very bad way. That animal she left you for has destroyed her. She's not eating, not sleeping. She's a shadow of herself." I said flatly, "I'm sorry to hear that." She pushed, voice rising. "Aren't you going to do something? You loved her once. A real man would show compassion. People make mistakes, Blake. Don't you still care at all?" The trap was set. Agree, and I'd be pulled back. Get angry, and I'd be proving I still cared. I chose truth. Calm, measured, Vanessa didn't make a mistake. She made a conscious, sustained choice to betray me 2 weeks before our wedding. The person you're describing, the one not eating or sleeping, is experiencing the direct consequences of that choice. Her well-being is no longer my concern. It hasn't been for a long time. I hope she gets help, but it won't be from me. Goodbye. I hung up on her sputtering protests. I knew this would be the final straw for Vanessa. The calm, unassailable logic was a weapon she couldn't fight. It denied her the emotional explosion she needed for validation. Less than 24 hours later, a final text blazed onto my screen from another unknown number. "You are a cold, heartless person. You never really loved me, or you would have fought. You just gave up and ran away. You're a coward. I'm glad I didn't marry you." There it was, her true colors: bitter, hypocritical, blazing. She had rewritten history in her mind. I was the villain for not begging her to stay after she told me she loved another man. The coward for not fighting for a relationship she had already destroyed. I didn't block the number. I deleted the message. She had finally played her last card, and it was worthless. She had no power left. Life in Denver was good, really good. The kind of good that sneaks up on you and makes you realize just how unhappy you were before without ever fully knowing it. With work that challenged me in the best way as I led the design on a net-zero office building set to become one of the most sustainable structures in the state. A project that consumed my days with pure problem-solving, creative thinking, and the deep satisfaction of building something meant to last. While on weekends I joined a hiking group and started tackling 14 airs, discovering there was something deeply clarifying about standing on a mountain peak at 14,000 feet with the world spread out below. Lungs burning from the thin air, legs shaking from exertion. A reminder of what actually matters and how an ex-fiancé's drama doesn't even make the list. As I dated casually with nothing serious or heavy, just a few dinners here and a concert there, enough to remember that I was still someone capable of being wanted and not merely someone who had been discarded. And as the months rolled by, fall turned to winter where I learned to ski. Winter turned to spring when I bought a road bike and started cycling the mountain passes. Spring turned to summer when I was promoted to senior design lead. Until a full year after signing the house transfer papers, my new firm sent me back to my old city for a major client presentation. My first time back. The city somehow feeling smaller, like a suit I had outgrown. The presentation going well, and afterward as I packed my laptop, my phone vibrating with a message from my lawyer about final paperwork from the house sale. Some missed tax document ready for my signature, which I could sign electronically or handle in person since his office was just a few blocks away before my flight. And I chose to stop by because I wanted every last thread severed. Walking out of the sleek high-rise with the document in hand and feeling a profound sense of closure. The chapter officially and legally over. Deciding then to grab one last coffee from the place Vanessa and I used to visit on Sundays, not out of nostalgia but as a kind of exorcism. One final ghost to banish, only to feel a presence behind me while waiting at the counter. A familiar scent of coconut and vanilla now soured with stale cigarettes. Blake, and when I turned it was Vanessa, worn down, dressed in trendy but cheap fast fashion imitations of her old style, her eyes frantic and hungry with new fine lines around her mouth. The vibrant woman I had proposed to gone and replaced by someone harder and more desperate. And when I greeted her neutrally like an acquaintance and she said she couldn't believe it was me. Clutching her purse strap as she admitted her mom told her I was in town and she hoped we'd run into each other. A coincidence I doubted. She asked if we could talk for just a minute. The raw plea in her voice meeting no anxiety or anger in me, only a weary desire to finish. This last piece of business, agreeing to 5 minutes since my flight was still 3 hours away. We sat at a small corner table where she held her latte with both hands, commented that I looked good in my tailored suit, tan from weekend hikes, my posture no longer that of a man crushed by a failing relationship but of someone successful and at peace. And when I prompted her to speak, the dam broke into a rehearsed monologue filled with the same self-pity from her voicemails and texts as she confessed her life was a mess, that she lost her job and now waited tables, that Tyler was a con artist who maxed out her credit cards before leaving, that she was living with her mom in humiliation, that friends looked at her with pity, insisting she had lost everything and that I was her real life and she had been a scared, stupid idiot, reaching for my hand only for me to pull back slightly as she begged to start over and get back what we had, her voice cracking while I slowly sipped my black coffee and let her words hang there, showing they had no effect, before calmly telling her that what we had was a memory and not a particularly good one, explaining that she hadn't just broken my heart 2 weeks before our wedding, but revealed that the woman I loved was a fiction and that the real her was capable of cruelty and selfishness I could never have imagined, stopping her protest with a raised hand that wasn't harsh but final, and telling her that I was actually grateful because it forced me to build a life I truly love, one not built on the shaky foundation of someone else's whims, making it clear that I didn't hate her or wish her harm but also didn't think about her at all, because she was a closed file. A lesson learned. Tears of frustration, not sadness, welled in her eyes. So that's it, she said. After everything, you're just going to be this cold, unfeeling robot. I almost smiled. No, I said. I feel plenty. I feel the sun on my face when I hike. I feel the satisfaction of a project well built. I feel excitement for my future. I've just chosen to stop feeling anything for you. It was a choice that improved my life immeasurably. I stood, slinging my carry-on bag over my shoulder, and placed a $10 bill on the table for my coffee. I have a plane to catch. I hope you find what you're looking for, Vanessa, but it won't be with me. Goodbye. I turned and walked out, leaving her there, small and defeated, without a glance back. 6 months later, Kevin called with one final update. I'd asked him to stop, but he said this one was important. She's engaged, he said. Good for her. To some guy who manages a call center. They've known each other 3 months. I was silent, processing, then laughed, not crying, just genuinely amused. She's looking for safe and stable again, I said. The passion burned her. Now she wants comfortable. I hope it works out for her. That was it. That was all. Kevin, brother, I mean this sincerely. I haven't thought about her in months. My life is exactly where I want it to be. What she does now is as relevant to me as what a stranger does. I wish her well, but from a great distance. A pause. You really have moved on, haven't you? Completely. That was the last update I received. Kevin finally accepted that I genuinely didn't care anymore. Guys, we are so close to hitting 100,000 subscribers on this channel. If you're not subscribed yet, please consider it. It really helps us reach that 100,000 mark. Thanks for making this dream come true.